My name is Evelyn, and I never thought the day would come when my own child would look me in the eyes and say she was tired of me. But she did. And when she said it, something inside me finally stopped hurting. Because it broke completely. Before I go any further, let me ask you something. If you enjoy deep, emotional stories about family, sacrifice, and hidden strength, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a story like this. And tell me in the comments, what country are you watching from? I read every comment, and I want to know where my people are watching from. Now listen closely, because what you are about to hear may sound like a simple family story, but it isn't. It is the story of how a mother gave everything, and was told she was too much. The most shocking moment of my life did not happen in a hospital. It did not happen at a funeral. It did not even happen when I lost my husband. It happened on a quiet evening, in my own daughter's living room. I was standing near the kitchen sink, holding a plate I had just washed. My hands were shaking, not because I was weak, but because I already knew what was coming. She crossed her arms and sighed loudly. Then she said it. "Mom, I'm tired of you." The words were calm. No shouting. No tears. Just tired. Tired of my presence. Tired of my voice. Tired of me existing in her space. I opened my mouth to speak, but she did not let me. "I'm tired of taking care of you. I'm tired of your stories. I'm tired of adjusting my life around you." Each sentence felt like a slap. I wanted to say, "I raised you." I wanted to say, "I stayed up nights when you were sick." I wanted to say, "I gave you my youth." But I said nothing. Because at that exact moment, something else happened. Something she did not notice. Something she did not expect. I was done too. She turned away, already sure she had won the argument. Already sure I would beg. Already sure I would cry and apologize for being alive. But I didn't. Instead, I placed the plate down gently. And I smiled. That smile scared even me. She did not see it, but you need to understand it. That smile was not weakness. It was acceptance. And it was the beginning of the end of the woman she thought I was. Let me take you back. Because this did not start that day. Years ago, after my husband passed away, my life became very small. The house became too quiet. The nights became too long. The walls felt like they were closing in on me. My daughter told me, "Mom, come stay with me. You shouldn't be alone." Her voice sounded kind back then. I sold my furniture. I packed my clothes into 2 old suitcases. I left the home where I had spent most of my life. I told myself, this is family. This is love. At first, everything seemed fine. I cooked. I cleaned. I helped with the kids. I stayed out of the way. I tried very hard not to be a burden. But slowly, things changed. The smiles became shorter. The silence became louder. The house no longer felt like a home. If I spoke too much, she rolled her eyes. If I stayed quiet, she asked why I was acting strange. Nothing I did was right. Sometimes, I would hear her talking on the phone. "She's still here," she would whisper. "I don't know how much longer I can do this." Each time, my heart sank a little deeper. Still, I stayed. Because that's what mothers do. We stay even when it hurts. The night she told me she was tired of me, I went to my small room and sat on the edge of the bed. I did not cry. Instead, I thought about everything I had lost. My home. My peace. My dignity. And then I thought about something else. Something very important. Something she didn't know. There was a reason I had stayed quiet for so long. There was a reason I had endured the looks, the sighs, the cold tone. And there was a reason I had never told her the full truth. Because while she thought she was taking care of me, I had been planning something. Something that would change everything. I reached into my bag and pulled out an old envelope. Inside it was a document she had never seen. A document that carried power. A document that would make her words, "I'm tired of you," sound very different by the end of this story. I held the envelope tightly and whispered to myself, "You're tired of me, but you have no idea what comes next." And just as I heard her footsteps walking toward my door, I knew this story was only beginning. That night, I did not sleep. I lay on my narrow bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the house that no longer felt like mine. The soft hum of the refrigerator, the distant noise of a television, my daughter laughing quietly at something on her phone. Each sound reminded me of one painful truth. I was unwanted. I turned on my side and held the old envelope close to my chest. It felt heavier than paper. It felt like years of silence, years of patience, years of swallowing pain. Outside my room, life went on like I did not exist. That was when I realized something very clear. I had spent my whole life putting others first. I had spent my whole life being patient. And it had brought me here, alone, unwanted, and spoken to like a burden. I whispered into the darkness, "No more." The next morning, I woke up early, as usual. Old habits die hard. I moved quietly so I would not wake anyone. I went to the kitchen and started making breakfast, the same way I had done for years. Eggs, toast, tea, simple food, comfort food. My hands moved on their own, but my mind was far away. I remembered when my daughter was little. She used to run into the kitchen and hug my legs while I cooked. She used to say, "Mommy, don't forget my eggs." She used to smile at me like I was her whole world. Where did that girl go? I placed the plates on the table just as she walked in. She looked at the food, then at me, then sighed. "You didn't have to do that," she said. Her voice was not kind. It was annoyed. "I know," I replied softly. "I just wanted to help." She sat down anyway and started eating. No thank you. No smile. I sat across from her, watching her chew, watching her scroll on her phone between bites. Finally, she spoke again. "Mom, about last night." My heart tightened. "Yes?" I asked. She didn't look at me. "I didn't mean it in a bad way," she said quickly. "I'm just stressed. Work, kids, bills. It's a lot." I nodded. "I understand," I said. And I truly did. But understanding does not erase pain. She finally looked up at me. "You know I love you, right?" she asked. I wanted to laugh. Love is not words. Love is how you treat someone when no one is watching. "Yes," I said again. She seemed relieved, like she had fixed something. But she hadn't. Because while she thought the problem was over, it had only just begun. Later that day, she left the house. The moment the door closed behind her, the house became quiet again. But this time, the silence felt different. This time, it felt like freedom. I went back to my room and locked the door. My hands were shaking as I opened the envelope again. Inside was a legal document. A property deed. My name was written clearly on it. Not hers. Mine. Years ago, before my husband died, we made a decision together. We bought a small piece of land outside the city. We never told anyone about it. Not even our daughter. At the time, it was meant to be our retirement plan. A safety net. After he passed, I kept it hidden. I told myself, family comes first. I told myself, my daughter will always take care of me. Now I knew how foolish that was. I read the document slowly, carefully, like it was reminding me who I still was. I was not powerless. I was not helpless. And I was not trapped. That evening, my daughter came home in a bad mood. She dropped her bag on the floor and kicked off her shoes. "Mom," she called out, "did you move my charger?" "No," I replied calmly from the living room. She walked in and looked around, already annoyed. "I can never find anything in this house," she snapped. I said nothing. She noticed my silence and frowned. "Why are you so quiet today?" she asked. Are you upset? I looked at her. Really looked at her. The tired eyes. The impatience. The way she spoke to me like I was a problem to manage. I'm just thinking, I said. She shrugged. Well, don't think too much. I've had a long day. She walked away. And that was when I understood something painful but important. She did not see me as a person anymore. She saw me as background noise. Later that night, I overheard her talking on the phone again. This time, she wasn't whispering. I swear I'm at my limit, she said. I love her, but she's draining me. I stood frozen in the hallway. I don't even know how long she plans to stay, she continued. Forever, maybe. She laughed lightly. That laugh broke something inside me. I quietly returned to my room and sat down. I pulled out a notebook and a pen. For the first time in years, I started writing plans. Not memories, not regrets. Plans. I wrote down phone numbers. I wrote down dates. I wrote down steps. Each word gave me strength. Each sentence made me feel alive again. The next morning, I told her I needed to go out. Out where? She asked, suspicious. Just to take care of something, I replied. She hesitated, then waved her hand. Okay, but don't be long. The kids will be back soon. I nodded and left the house. As I stepped outside, the sun hit my face, warm and bright. It felt like a sign. I walked slowly, but with purpose. Because today, I was not just a tired old woman. Today, I was a woman reclaiming her life. And my daughter had no idea what I was about to do next. No idea at all. The air outside felt different that morning. It was not just the sun on my face. It was the feeling of movement. Of choice. Of knowing that for the first time in a long while, I was walking somewhere because I wanted to, not because someone needed something from me. Each step away from the house made my back feel a little straighter. I took the bus downtown, sitting by the window, watching the city pass by. People were laughing, arguing, rushing to work, living their lives without knowing anything about the storm building inside me. I held my bag tightly on my lap. Inside it were the documents. Inside it was my future. The first place I went was the bank. The building looked cold and serious, with tall glass doors and quiet floors. I hesitated for a moment before going inside. I had not done anything important on my own in years. My daughter usually handled these things. But today, I was not asking permission. I walked up to the counter. "Good morning," the young woman said politely. "Good morning," I replied, my voice steady. "I'd like to check on an account," I said, sliding my old bank book across the counter. She typed for a while, her fingers moving fast. Then she looked up. "This account hasn't been touched in a long time," she said. "I know," I replied. She turned the screen slightly toward me. The number staring back at me made my heart skip. It was still there. Everything my husband and I had saved. Everything I had been too afraid to touch. I swallowed hard. "I'd like to update my information," I said. "And make sure no one else has access." She nodded. Of course. As she worked, I felt something I had not felt in years. Control. When she was done, she smiled. "You're all set," she said. "Only you are listed now." "Thank you," I replied. Those two words felt powerful. Next, I went to see a lawyer. He was an older man with kind eyes and a calm voice. He listened carefully as I explained my situation. I did not insult my daughter. I did not shout or cry. I just told the truth. "I need to protect myself," I said simply. He nodded slowly. "You'd be surprised how many parents come in too late," he said. "You're doing the right thing." We went through the documents together. The land. The savings. My rights. Each signature I placed on those papers felt like a door closing behind me, and another opening ahead. Before I left, he looked at me and said, "You are not obligated to stay where you are not respected." I thanked him and stood up. Those words stayed with me. On my way back home, I stopped at a small cafe. I had passed it many times before but never went in. I ordered tea and sat by the window. As I sipped slowly, I thought about my life. About how I used to be strong. About how I used to make decisions. About how I slowly gave that power away, piece by piece, in the name of love. I realized something painful. Love should not make you disappear. When I returned to the house, my daughter was in the living room. She looked up when I walked in. "You took a long time," she said. "Yes," I replied calmly. "Where did you go?" I paused for a moment. "Out," I said. She narrowed her eyes. "You're being strange lately," she said. "Is something wrong?" I smiled softly. "No," I said. "Something is finally right." She didn't like that answer. She stood up and crossed her arms. "Mom, if there's a problem, you need to talk to me," she said. I looked at her, really looked at her again. "There's no problem," I repeated. "Not anymore." She huffed and walked away. But I could feel it. She was uneasy. That evening, I cooked dinner again. But this time, it felt different. I was not cooking to prove my worth. I was not cooking to earn my place. I was simply cooking. During dinner, she talked about her day. Complained about work. Complained about the kids. I listened quietly. At one point, she stopped and looked at me. "You're not saying much," she said. "Are you sure you're okay?" I met her eyes. "I'm fine," I said. She frowned, clearly not convinced. Later that night, I heard her talking to someone in her room. "I don't know what's going on with her," she said. "She's acting different." I smiled to myself. Different was good. Different meant awake. Before going to bed, I opened my bag and checked the documents again. Everything was in order. I placed them carefully back inside and zipped the bag shut. Tomorrow, I would take the next step. A step she would not expect. A step that would force her to see me, not as a burden, not as background noise, but as a woman who still had choices. As I turned off the light, my phone vibrated softly. A new message. I picked it up and read the words. And when I did, my heart started pounding. Because the message said something that changed everything. Something that told me my daughter had been hiding more than just her feelings. And suddenly, I realized. This story was much bigger than I thought. I stared at my phone for a long time before I read the message again. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. But the words did not change. They stayed right there on the screen, clear and heavy. "Ma'am, we need to speak with you as soon as possible. It concerns your daughter and a financial matter connected to your name." My heart began to beat fast. Very fast. I sat on the edge of the bed, holding the phone with both hands. The room suddenly felt too small. The air felt thick, like it was hard to breathe. Why would anyone contact me about my daughter and my name in the same sentence? I had not told anyone about the documents. I had not told anyone about the account. I had been careful. So how did they know? I locked my door quietly and sat back down. My hands were shaking again, but this time it was not from sadness. It was fear and anger. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, my mind filled with questions. Had she used my name without telling me? Had she signed something behind my back? Had she done something I could not undo? I remembered small moments I had ignored. Times she asked questions about my papers. Times she said, "Mom, where do you keep your important things?" Times she told me, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." I felt foolish. I told myself I was being paranoid. But deep down, I knew better. The next morning, she was cheerful. Too cheerful. She hummed while making coffee. She smiled at her children. She even smiled at me. "Good morning, Mom," she said sweetly. I studied her face carefully. The same face I used to kiss goodnight. The same face I protected from the world. Now it felt unfamiliar. "Good morning," I replied calmly. She poured coffee into a mug and sat across from me. "You slept well?" she asked. "Yes," I lied. She nodded. "I was thinking," she said casually, "maybe we should talk about your future." My chest tightened. "What about it?" I asked. She leaned back in her chair. "You know, long-term plans. You can't stay here forever." There it was. I waited. "I mean," she continued, "maybe an assisted living place. Somewhere comfortable. Safe." She said it like she was offering me a gift. My hands tightened around my cup. "And how would that work?" I asked. She shrugged. "Well, we'd figure it out. Maybe sell some things. Use savings." Savings. She watched my face closely when she said that word. I smiled. "That sounds like something to think about," I said. She relaxed instantly. "Good," she said. "I'm glad you understand." She stood up and kissed my cheek before leaving the room. The moment she was gone, my smile disappeared. Now I was sure. Something was wrong. Later that day, when the house was quiet again, I made the call. My voice shook slightly as I spoke. "Yes, this is Evelyn," I said. "You sent me a message." The man on the other end paused. "Thank you for calling back, ma'am," he said. "We've been trying to reach you." "About what?" I asked. There was another pause. "About a loan application," he said carefully. "Submitted using your personal information." My heart dropped. "I did not apply for any loan," I said firmly. "Yes," he replied. "That's why we are calling." I felt dizzy. "How much?" I whispered. There was a brief silence. Then he said the number. It was more money than I had ever borrowed in my life. More money than I would ever need. More money than anyone should take without permission. "I didn't sign anything," I said again, my voice breaking now. "We understand," he replied. "But the documents appear valid. The signature matches previous records." I closed my eyes. I knew exactly whose handwriting it was. That evening, I sat in the living room waiting for her. She walked in, smiling again, holding shopping bags. "Hey, Mom," she said brightly. I picked up a few things for the house. I looked at the bags. New things. Expensive things. She noticed my stare. "What?" she asked lightly. "We deserve nice things too." I stood up slowly. "We need to talk," I said. Her smile faded just a little. "Can it wait?" she asked. "I'm tired." "No," I replied. "It cannot." She sighed dramatically and dropped the bags. "Fine," she said. "What is it now?" I held up my phone. "I got a call today," I said quietly. Her face froze. "About a loan," I continued. The room went silent. "You used my name," I said. "Didn't you?" She laughed nervously. "Mom, don't start," she said. "It's not a big deal." "Not a big deal." "You signed my name," I said. "Without asking me." She crossed her arms. "I was going to tell you," she snapped. "Eventually." "Eventually." I repeated. "We needed the money," she said defensively. "For the house. For the kids. For all of us." "You didn't need my permission?" I asked. She looked away. "I knew you wouldn't understand," she muttered. Something inside me snapped. All the patience. All the silence. All the excuses. Gone. "You told me you were tired of me," I said slowly. "But you weren't tired of my name. Or my credit. Or my savings." She raised her voice. "Why are you acting like this?" she shouted. "I take care of you." I stepped closer. "You used me," I said. "And now, I'm done." Her eyes widened. "What do you mean you're done?" she asked. I didn't answer. I simply turned around and walked back to my room. I locked the door behind me. My hands were shaking again, but this time I felt strong. Because now I knew the truth. And tomorrow, I would take an action that would change our lives forever. As I reached for my bag and pulled out the documents one more time, my phone buzzed again. Another message. This one made my blood run cold. Because it said, legal action will begin within 48 hours. And my daughter had no idea what was about to hit her. I did not sleep at all that night. The words legal action will begin within 48 hours kept repeating in my head like a drumbeat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my daughter's face when I asked her about the loan. Not guilt. Not fear. Just irritation. As if I was the problem. I sat on the edge of my bed and held my hands together, trying to calm my breathing. 4 years, I had protected her. 4 years, I had covered her mistakes. 4 years, I had chosen peace over truth. And look where it had brought me. Into debt I did not create. Into danger I did not deserve. Into a house where love had turned into entitlement. That was when I made a decision. A hard one. But a necessary one. Early the next morning, I dressed carefully. Not fancy. Just neat. Respectable. Strong. When I stepped into the kitchen, my daughter was already there, scrolling on her phone like nothing had happened. Morning, she said flatly. Morning, I replied. She poured herself coffee and did not offer me any. We sat in silence. Finally, she spoke. About yesterday, she said. I don't want to argue. I looked at her. This is not an argument, I said calmly. This is about my life. She rolled her eyes. Mom, I told you I was going to handle it. Handle what? I asked. Fraud. Her head snapped up. Don't use that word, she snapped. That word is the truth, I replied. She slammed her cup down. You don't understand how hard things have been for me, she shouted. I did this for the family. You did this without my consent, I said quietly. That matters. She stood up. So what? You're going to call the police on your own daughter? She asked, mocking. I looked at her steadily. I am going to protect myself, I said. Her face changed then. For the first time I saw fear. Later that day, I left the house without telling her where I was going. I went straight to the lawyer's office. The same calm man listened as I explained everything. The loan. The forged signature. The threat of legal action. His expression hardened. This is serious, he said. Very serious. I know, I replied. He leaned forward. You have 2 options, he said. You can stay silent and take responsibility for something you did not do. Or you can tell the truth. I swallowed hard. And if I tell the truth? I asked. There will be consequences, he said. For her. My chest tightened. I thought of the little girl she used to be. I thought of the woman she had become. I closed my eyes. I want to tell the truth, I said. He nodded. We'll start immediately, he said. When I returned home, the house felt tense. My daughter was pacing the living room. Where did you go? She demanded. I took care of something, I replied. She stopped pacing. Did you talk to anyone? She asked. I met her eyes. Yes, I said. Her voice dropped. Who? A lawyer, I answered. The color drained from her face. You wouldn't, she said. I already did, I replied. She shook her head slowly. You're trying to ruin me, she whispered. I felt tears sting my eyes, but I did not let them fall. You ruined yourself when you used my name, I said. She started crying then. Loud, angry sobs. I was desperate, she shouted. You don't know what it's like to feel like you're drowning. I know exactly what it's like, I said. I've been drowning quietly for years. That night, She did not speak to me. She slammed doors. She made loud phone calls. She cried where I could hear her. I stayed in my room, calm on the outside, shaking on the inside. My phone buzzed again. Another message. We will require a formal statement tomorrow. Tomorrow. Everything would change tomorrow. The next morning, I woke up to shouting. She was on the phone, crying. They're going to take everything, she yelled. I don't know what to do. She noticed me standing in the doorway. Her eyes were red. Her face was twisted with anger and fear. You did this, she said. No, I replied softly. You did. She walked toward me slowly. If you don't fix this, she said, lowering her voice, I will never forgive you. I felt something strange then. Relief. I already forgave myself, I said. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me anymore. Maybe she didn't. That afternoon, I packed a small bag. Just clothes. Toiletries. Important papers. She watched from the doorway. Where are you going? She asked. Somewhere safe, I replied. You can't just leave, she said. I can, I replied. And I am. She laughed bitterly. You think you can survive without me? I turned and looked at her. I survived with you, I said. This will be easier. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I walked past her and out the door. As I stepped into the sunlight, my phone vibrated one last time. A new message. This one made my heart race. Because it said, we have evidence. Please come in immediately. And I knew. I sat on the bus with my small bag on my lap, staring straight ahead, barely seeing anything outside the window. Cars passed. People talked. Life moved on. But inside me, everything was shaking. We have evidence. Please come in immediately. Those words were still glowing in my mind like a warning sign. I had left the house without looking back. Not because I was not afraid, but because if I looked back, I might lose the courage to keep going. 4 years, that house had been my cage. Today it was no longer mine. When I arrived at the office, my legs felt weak. The building looked tall and serious, like it did not care about emotions. Only truth. Only facts. I took a deep breath and walked inside. The same lawyer greeted me, but this time, he was not calm. He was focused. Thank you for coming quickly, he said. Please sit. I sat down, my hands folded tightly together. He placed a folder on the table. Inside it were papers. Many papers. We contacted the lender, he said. And we requested the original documents. I swallowed hard. They ran a handwriting analysis, he continued. And a digital trail. My heart was pounding now. What does that mean? I asked. He looked me straight in the eyes. It means we can prove you did not sign those papers, he said. I closed my eyes. For a moment, I felt like I might faint. They traced the email used to submit the application, he went on. It leads directly to your daughter's device. The room felt very quiet. She used your information, he said. Your identity. Your trust. Tears rolled down my cheeks before I could stop them. Not because I was weak, but because the truth hurts more when it comes from someone you gave birth to. I signed more papers that day. Official statements. Formal complaints. Each signature felt heavy. Each page felt like another nail sealing a door behind me. Once this is submitted, the lawyer said carefully, there is no going back. I looked at my name written neatly on the last page. I know, I said. And I meant it. When I left the office, my phone started ringing. Her name lit up the screen. I stopped walking. For a long moment, I just stared at it. Then I answered. What have you done? She screamed before I could speak. Her voice was wild. Panicked. I told the truth, I said calmly. You're destroying my life, she cried. No, I replied. I'm saving mine. There was silence. Then she spoke again, slower this time. You don't understand, she said. If this goes through, I could lose everything. I closed my eyes. You already took everything from me, I said. My peace. My safety. My trust. You're my mother, she whispered. And I am a person, I replied. She started crying again. Real crying this time. Please, she begged. Fix this. Tell them it was a mistake. My chest hurt. I wanted to reach through the phone and hold her. But I didn't. I can't lie anymore, I said. I've done enough damage to myself. She screamed and hung up. I spent that night at a small motel. The room smelled like soap and old furniture, but it was quiet. No sighs. No eye rolls. No tension. Just silence. I slept better than I had in years. The next morning, my phone was full of messages. From her. From unknown numbers. From family members. Some were angry. How could you do this to your own child? She made a mistake. You should have handled this privately. Others were quiet. I'm sorry you're going through this. I didn't know things were that bad. I did not reply to any of them. For once, I chose myself. Around noon, there was a knock on my door. My heart jumped. I looked through the small window. 2 people stood outside. 1 man. 1 woman. Both serious. Both official. I opened the door slowly. Are you Evelyn? The man asked. Yes, I replied. We need to speak with you, he said. It's regarding the investigation. My stomach tightened. May we come in? The woman asked. I stepped aside. They entered and sat down. We wanted to inform you, the man said, that formal charges are being prepared. My hands trembled. For identity fraud and financial abuse, he continued. I nodded silently. There's one more thing, the woman said gently. I looked up. Your daughter is claiming you gave her permission, she said. She says you agreed verbally. I felt my heart crack. She's lying, I whispered. We believe you, the man said. But we need proof. Proof. I thought quickly. Then I remembered something. Something I had almost forgotten. There may be recordings, I said slowly. They both leaned forward. She often recorded conversations, I explained. To remember things. They exchanged looks. If those recordings exist, the woman said, they could change everything. I nodded. They're on her old tablet, I said. She never erased them. The room went silent. After they left, I sat on the bed, staring at the wall. Recordings. If they found them, there would be no hiding. No twisting the story. No pretending anymore. My phone buzzed again. A single message from her. If you do this, you're dead to me. I closed my eyes. Tears slipped down my face. But my hands did not shake this time. Because deep inside, I knew something she didn't. The truth was about to come out. And when it did, nothing would ever be the same again. I read her message again and again. If you do this, you're dead to me. For a long time, I just sat there, holding the phone loosely in my hand. I thought that sentence would destroy me. I thought it would make me beg. I thought it would pull me back into fear. But it didn't. Instead, it did something unexpected. It made something very clear. I had already been dead to her long before she sent that message. Dead the moment I became a burden. Dead the moment my feelings became inconvenient. Dead the moment she used my name like it was hers to spend. I placed the phone face down on the bed and took a deep breath. No more reading messages. No more reacting. Only moving forward. Later that afternoon, I went back to the lawyer's office. This time, I walked in with my head high. I remembered something important, I told him. He listened carefully as I explained about the recordings. His eyes widened slightly. That could be critical, he said. If we can access them legally. They're on her old tablet, I said. She kept it in a drawer in the living room. I've seen it. He nodded slowly. We'll request it, he said. If the device exists and the recordings are real, this case becomes very strong. I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief because the truth could finally be proven. Sadness because the truth would also expose her completely. That night, I stayed awake thinking about the past. About the time she said, "Don't worry, Mom, I'll handle it." About the time she brushed me off when I asked questions. About the times I chose silence because I didn't want conflict. I realized something painful. Silence does not protect relationships. It protects bad behavior. The next morning, I received another call. This time, it was from an investigator. We executed a request for the device, he said. Your daughter cooperated. That surprised me. She handed it over without a fight? I asked. Yes, he replied. She claimed there was nothing on it. My stomach tightened. She's confident, I murmured. Too confident, he said. Hours passed like days. I paced the small room. I prayed. I stared out the window. Every sound made my heart jump. Then, finally, the call came. We found the recordings, the investigator said. I closed my eyes. There are several, he continued. And they are very clear. My breath caught. What do they say? I whispered. One of them is from the night you confronted her, he said. She admits you never gave permission. She says, and I quote, "She won't do anything. She never does." The words hit me like a punch. She said that. I asked. Yes, he replied. And there are others. My hands trembled. She talks about using your credit, he said. About needing the money. About how you owe her for raising you. Raising me. I felt sick. That evening, my phone rang again. Her name. I answered. They had probably already told her. Her voice was very different this time. Quiet. Shaky. They have the recordings, she said. Yes, I replied. You planned this, she accused weakly. No, I said. You did. There was silence. Then she spoke again. Can we talk? She asked. Please. Just us. I hesitated. Where? I asked. At the house, she said. I'll be alone. The house. The place where everything fell apart. I closed my eyes. Okay, I said. One last time. When I arrived, the house felt empty. No children. No noise. No warmth. She was sitting on the couch, her face pale. She stood when she saw me. Mom, she said softly. I remained standing. Sit, she said. I'm fine, I replied. She swallowed. I didn't think it would go this far, she said. That's the problem, I replied. You didn't think about me at all. Tears filled her eyes. I was scared, she said. I didn't know what else to do. You could have asked, I said. You could have told the truth. She nodded slowly. I know, she whispered. Then she looked up at me. If I lose everything, she said, will you be happy? That question broke my heart more than her anger ever did. No, I said honestly. I will be at peace. She covered her face and cried. Real sobs. I stood there, torn between instinct and survival. Finally, I spoke. This is bigger than us now, I said. I can't stop it. She looked up. Is there anything I can do? She asked. I paused. Yes, I said. Tell the truth. Fully. To everyone. She nodded slowly. I will, she said. As I walked out of the house for the last time, I felt lighter. Not because I won, but because I stopped losing myself. My phone buzzed once more. A message from the lawyer. Charges will be finalized tomorrow. Prepare yourself. Tomorrow. The final fall. Or the final truth. Either way. There was no turning back now. The night before everything changed, I sat alone in the small motel room and stared at my reflection in the mirror. I barely recognized the woman looking back at me. Her eyes were tired, yes, but they were clear. Her face was lined, but steady. Her shoulders were no longer bent under invisible weight. For the first time in a long while, I looked like someone who had made a decision and was ready to stand by it. Tomorrow, the charges would be finalized. Tomorrow, the truth would stop being whispered and start being written down. And tomorrow, my daughter would no longer be able to hide behind tears, excuses, or the word family. I woke up before dawn. The sky outside was still dark, and the world felt like it was holding its breath with me. I dressed slowly, carefully. I chose simple clothes. Neutral colors. Nothing dramatic. This was not about drama. This was about truth. As I waited for the call to head to the office, memories kept coming back without warning. Her first day of school. Her laughter when she learned to ride a bike. The way she used to grab my hand when she was scared. I pressed my lips together and forced myself to breathe. Love does not cancel accountability, I reminded myself. Mid-morning, my phone rang. We're ready for you, the lawyer said. Please come in. The drive felt long, even though it wasn't. Every red light felt like a test. Every mile felt like a memory. When I arrived, the building looked the same as before. Cold, tall, unmoved. But I was different. Inside the conference room, there were more people than last time. The lawyer. An investigator. A woman from the lender's office. Another man I had not met before. Everyone was serious. This was no longer personal. This was official. We're proceeding today, the lawyer said. Based on the evidence, your statement, and the recordings. I nodded. The charges will be filed, he continued. Identity fraud. Financial exploitation. The words echoed in my ears. They sounded heavy. Permanent. There is one more thing, the investigator said. I looked up. Your daughter has requested to speak with you again, he said. Before everything is finalized. My chest tightened. She says she wants to confess, he added. But only if you're present. The room went quiet. Everyone looked at me. This was my choice. We agreed to meet in a controlled room. When she walked in, she looked smaller somehow. Her shoulders were slumped. Her eyes were swollen. Her confidence was gone. She sat across from me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she broke the silence. I told them everything, she said quietly. I nodded. They asked why, she continued. And I didn't know what to say. She looked up at me. So I told them the truth, she said. That I was tired. That I felt trapped. That I thought you wouldn't fight back. That last part hurt the most. I didn't interrupt. I didn't think you were weak, she said quickly. I thought you would always forgive me. I took a deep breath. That's not forgiveness, I said calmly. That's expectation. Tears filled her eyes. I never meant to hurt you, she whispered. I know, I said. And that was the truth. She leaned forward. They told me there might be consequences I can't avoid, she said. I'm scared. I know, I replied. Is there any way, she asked slowly, that you can help me now? The room felt heavy again. This was the moment she was waiting for. The moment she believed a mother would step in and shield her. I looked at her for a long time. I am helping you, I said finally. By telling the truth. By not lying for you. By letting you face what you did. Her face crumpled. That doesn't feel like help, she cried. It's the only kind that lasts, I said. After she was taken away, I sat quietly for a long time. No one rushed me. No one spoke. When I finally stood up, the lawyer nodded respectfully. You handled that with strength, he said. I did not feel strong. I felt empty. That evening, I returned to the motel. I lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the distant sounds of traffic. My phone buzzed once. A message from a family member. I heard what's happening. Is it true? I did not reply. Then another message came in. This one made my heart stop. It was from the lender. Due to new information, the loan status has changed. Please contact us immediately. I sat up slowly. Changed. That word could mean many things. Good, bad, or something no one had prepared me for. My phone rang again before I could even process it. This time, it was the lawyer. His voice was serious. There's been a development, he said. One we didn't expect. My stomach dropped. What kind of development? I asked. He paused. The kind that could change how this ends, for both of you. And with that, the line went quiet, leaving me alone, with my thoughts, and a future that was suddenly uncertain again. I sat very still after the call ended, so still that I could hear my own heartbeat. The lawyer's words kept echoing in my head. A development, the kind that could change how this ends. I had lived long enough to know that when someone says that, it usually means trouble wearing a calm face. I picked up my phone again and stared at it, half expecting it to ring once more. It didn't. The silence felt heavier than noise. I decided not to wait. Waiting had already cost me too much. I got dressed again and stepped outside the motel. The sun was setting, painting the sky in soft orange and gray, like the world was trying to be gentle with me. I took a taxi to the lawyer's office. The whole ride, my mind raced. Was the loan cancelled? Was something else found? Had she said something new? Or worse, had someone else stepped in? When I arrived, the office lights were still on. That alone made my chest tighten. Inside, the lawyer was standing instead of sitting. His jacket was off. Papers were spread across the table. He looked up when he saw me. I'm glad you came, he said. You said there was a development, I replied. Please don't soften it. He nodded slowly. All right, he said. I won't. He gestured for me to sit. I didn't. What happened? I asked. He took a deep breath. The lender reviewed the recordings, he said. And the digital trail. I waited. They agree that you are not responsible for the loan, he continued. My knees almost gave out. So it's over? I asked quietly. Not exactly, he said. That word again. I sat down. The loan has been frozen, he explained. Your credit is being restored. I pressed my hand to my chest. But, he added, they also found something else. My fingers curled tightly around my bag. What? I asked. He slid a document toward me. It was a copy of a contract. One I had never seen before. My name was typed on it. Not signed. Typed. What is this? I asked. He pointed to a line near the bottom. A co-ownership agreement, he said. Linked to your land. My breath caught. That land was never in her name, I said quickly. I know, he replied. But she attempted to use it as leverage. My head started spinning. She told the lender that you had verbally agreed to transfer partial ownership, he said. In exchange for care. Care. So that was her plan. Not just money. My future. My safety. My escape. Before I could respond, the door opened. The investigator walked in, holding a tablet. We just confirmed it, he said. There's more. I looked up. There were multiple attempts, he continued. Not just one. Attempts at what? I asked. At placing liens, he said. At restructuring assets. I felt sick. How long? I whispered. Over a year, he said. Over a year. While I was cooking. While I was cleaning. While I was being quiet so I wouldn't be a burden. She had been planning. Carefully. Silently. I stood up suddenly. I need air, I said. The lawyer nodded. Take a moment, he said. I stepped into the hallway, leaning against the wall. My hands were shaking violently now. This was not desperation. This was strategy. And that hurt more than the loan ever did. My phone buzzed. A new message. From her. I didn't tell them everything. My heart dropped. Another message followed immediately. There's something you need to know before they do. I stared at the screen. What? I typed back. The reply came fast. It's about the house. The house. The one she lived in. The one I thought was hers. My stomach twisted. What about it? I typed. There was a long pause. Then 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, the message came through. It's not fully mine. I felt dizzy. What do you mean? I wrote. Another pause. Then. I used your name again. The hallway felt like it was closing in. Used my name. Again? Before I could respond, the lawyer stepped out. Evelyn, he said, his voice urgent. We just received new records. I turned to him slowly. What records? I asked. He hesitated. Property records, he said. The house is partially tied to you. My heart slammed against my ribs. What? I whispered. He nodded grimly. She listed you as a silent guarantor, he said. Without your consent. The floor felt unsteady. If she defaults, he continued, they could come after you. Everything went quiet. The loan. The land. The house. She hadn't just crossed a line. She had built an entire life on my name. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call. From her. I answered without thinking. Tell me the truth, I said immediately. All of it. Her voice was shaking. I was trying to keep us afloat, she cried. I didn't think it would explode like this. You tied me to your house, I said. Why? Silence. Then she whispered something that made my blood run cold. Because if it went down, we would go down together. I pulled the phone away from my ear. The lawyer stared at me. What did she say? He asked. I looked at him slowly. She made me her backup plan, I said. At that moment, the investigator's phone rang. He answered, listened, then looked at us sharply. We have a problem, he said. What now? The lawyer asked. She's been served, the investigator said. And she's panicking. My heart sank. She just tried to move assets, he continued. Again. I closed my eyes. How much time do we have? I asked. He didn't answer right away. Then he said the words that made everything feel dangerous. Very little. And suddenly, I understood something terrifying. This was no longer just about what she had done. It was about what she might do next. I did not cry when they told me. I thought I would. I thought the final blow would finally break me. But instead, I felt something else. Clarity. The investigator's words were calm, but heavy. She attempted to move assets after being served, he said. That changes things. The lawyer nodded. It shows intent, he added. And panic. I sat down slowly, placing my hands flat on my knees. For years, I had believed my daughter was overwhelmed, stressed, confused, lost. But now I understood the truth. She was not drowning. She was dragging me down so she wouldn't sink alone. Within hours, everything moved fast. Too fast for emotions. Too fast for excuses. Accounts were frozen. Property transfers were blocked. Emergency legal holds were placed on anything connected to my name. For the first time since this nightmare began, People were not asking me to be patient. They were protecting me. The lawyer turned to me. "You're safe now," he said. "Legally." I closed my eyes. Safe. I had forgotten what that word felt like. Later that evening, I received the call I knew would come. Her name lit up my phone one last time. I answered. "Mom," she said, her voice cracked and weak. "Please. Just listen." "I am listening," I replied calmly. "They're saying things that make me sound like a monster," she cried. I took a slow breath. "No," I said. "They're saying things that make you sound responsible." Silence. "I never wanted to hurt you," she whispered. "I know," I said again. "But intention does not erase damage." She started sobbing. "I don't know how this got so big," she said. "I do," I replied. "It got big because it was built on lies." She didn't argue. That told me everything. "What happens now?" she asked quietly. I looked out the window at the dark sky. "Now," I said, "you face what you did. And I live with what I survived." "You're really done with me?" she asked. That question hurt more than any threat. "I am done being used," I said gently. "I am not done being your mother. But that doesn't mean I save you from consequences." She cried softly. "I wish you had fought back sooner," she said. "So did I. But I didn't say it." Days later, I stood in a small but peaceful apartment. Sunlight came through the window. The room smelled clean. Quiet. It wasn't fancy. But it was mine. My name was no longer tied to debt. My future was no longer collateral. My voice was no longer silent. I unpacked slowly. Each folded shirt felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. I won't pretend this ending is perfect. It isn't. Families don't break cleanly. Love doesn't disappear overnight. Pain doesn't vanish just because justice arrives. But this is what I learned. Being a mother does not mean being a sacrifice forever. Love does not mean allowing abuse. And silence is not strength. Boundaries are. When my daughter told me she was tired of me, she thought I would shrink. She didn't know. I was done too. Done being invisible. Done being afraid. Done being quiet. And choosing myself saved my life. Now, before you go, if this story touched you, even a little, please like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful, emotional stories like this. And turn on your notifications so you never miss the next one. Most importantly, tell me in the comments. Have you ever been used by someone you loved? And where are you watching from? Your voice matters. Your story matters. And you are never wrong for choosing yourself.